You know, there's a real argument to be made for playing this level on easy.
We must collect the index before we can activate the installation.
Are we gonna ask what any of that means?
Oh, of course
Hi,
not.
it's
Hi,
Halo again.
welcome back. Yep.
The library is the worst level in Halo, and we're gonna get through it as fast as we absolutely can. This motherfucker is gonna talk a lot about things we know nothing about, and we're not gonna make a single, solitary, easiest effort to understand what he's saying. Master Chief isn't gonna ask many questions. We're not gonna ask what we're doing, why we're doing it. We're not gonna ask what it's going to accomplish. And I hate this level so much.
Excellent. The first of many deaths.
It's not fun, it's not well designed, it's narratively useless, and it's this hallway 24 times. I made that number up.
We're ripping the band-aid off early. The library, infamous. Infamous stage. It's terrible.
It's bad. There's nothing good about it.
And here's the thing. Here's the kicker. It's bad, and it knows it's bad.
It's bad. It knows it's bad. It's really long. It overstays its welcome immediately. Oh look, I got hit by a shotgun.
Excellent. So, oh, I'm already out of ammo. Lovely. So we're ripping the band-aid off. We kind of skirted over something. So a lot of new things are thrown at you in very short order. There's a new enemy type. The potato with legs. They explode when they get near you, and then little footballs come out of them. They suck. They're not a good enemy. And it's not necessarily because they're poorly designed. It's because they just don't stop.
They make more enemies, and it's the last thing we need. Like we were talking about last time, Flood are now just coming out of the walls. There's no effort made to make this enemy placement seem natural or working in universe. They're just coming out the damn walls.
Yeah, we've officially hit the point that we've been alluding to this whole game, which is Bungie ran out of time and money and fucks to give.
Yep.
The development of this game was tumultuous, so I'm not gonna like speculate too hard at the motives of the developers, but absolutely you could say unequivocally, just based on like what's coming up and what we're in now. There's a lot less effort going into what we're doing now than there has been in the entire rest of the game up to this point.
Yep. And you're seeing what this level's going to be. You're going to be running down hallways and standing and defending a point. That's it.
So the contrivance.
First of 10. First of 10. He's not lying.
No. So yeah, this door is the first of 10. There's going to be a lot of these, and that's the contrivance. Is that we arrive at a locked door.
Oh, hold on.
And
he's talking. We brought inefficient weapons to fight the Flood despite containment protocols. Should we maybe ask what he means by that?
Well,
no, we're not.
We would, but the Master Chef doesn't talk unless it's a cutscene.
And even then, he doesn't talk. So he said the Flood is virulent, spreads by spores. We don't have anything to say about that. We are... The Master Chief is not a character. he's a camera. And I don't understand how people can play this game and connect with the Master Chief on an emotional level, because he has less personality than a silent protagonist. Somehow, giving him a voice that he rarely ever uses makes him worse at conveying information and emotion than a silent protagonist. Because you're always waiting for him to say something. And with a silent protagonist, you know you're not going to get anything, and you're free to make up that reaction on your own. But he does talk, he does react, and now he isn't. Why?
Well, that's what I was getting at. He isn't because notable radio personality Steve Downes is a busy man. Ah, well, there you go. I will also not talk over the next bit of dialogue here. Just... So yeah, Steve Downes' radio personality, they couldn't get him in the booth for very long, because he's a busy man, and as a result, the voice lines that our Master Chef has are the absolute bare minimum required by
this represents like an hour of work.
Yep. So, and I mean that's not a knock against the voice actor. That's a knock against the casting decision to get someone who could, you know, be in the booth.
If you're making a game with a focused first-person narrative that relies on your main character talking, don't hire someone who can't come in whenever you need them.
But reckon they have Cortana, the AI, and you. Oh no, wait, we left her behind.
Yeah, she hasn't talked to us for a while.
Yeah, it's not a good time. We're playing on heroic, the way it's meant to be played, and we're getting their asses kicked here.
And you're seeing the problem with the Flood having hit-scan weapons. They just do damage to you. You cannot avoid this damage. You're relying on total randomness to just fucking hope that you get a stretch of enemies without bullet weapons, so you can get your shields back.
And it's not just the hit scan weapons. We now get to reincorporate something we mentioned earlier: diegetic item placement.
There's no health to be found. There won't be. We will have one health pack per point defense segment.
This way, please.
And that is because this area is an area that nobody, Covenant or human, has been to yet. So all of the weapons we're picking up are being dropped by the Flood. If we run out of ammo, well, bad luck. Pick one up off the dead Flood. No health packs. I did just pick up an overshield that was rather conspicuously placed in the little down ramp. Speaking of, bye.
Ah, excellent. Nothing like some bottomless pits to really shake up the level design.
You mean the level design that's giant grey boxy corridors with 90-degree angles?
Yep.
Yeah? So, oh hey, you picked up a shotgun off of a Flood with a shotgun.
Yeah,
I'm sure that only cost you 90% of your health. So yeah, the exploding enemies, there's a good illustration of why they're a problem. You'll round a corner, there'll be 3 of them.
And you move heroic, so slow, you don't jump very far. There's nothing you can do about or to them other than just deal with it.
Yep.
Class 12 combat skin. What does that mean? How are you getting that metric that we're in a class 2?
We could ask, but unfortunately, Steve Downes, you know, he had to host a radio show. He only had an hour in a booth that day.
I cannot properly express my distaste for this level. This ruins Halo for me. Like,
yeah.
Hold on. Okay, so he's going off somewhere. We have to go up a big elevator. So, like, Halo has weak level design, it has low enemy
wait, it
variety.
gets worse.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that. Yep.
Making fun of the fact that you know your level is a piece of shit is not endearing. It's an admission that you did nothing to fix it.
Yep. But yes, you were saying that this ruins Halo.
You know, I'll give Halo a hard time for having terrible level design, you know, repetitive level design, empty environments, low enemy variety.
Failure in a drone control subsystem.
But
I must reset the backup unit. Please continue on. I will rejoin you when I've completed my task.
just fucking, who are you? Ask a question.
So there
Engage
are
with the
diegetically
story.
placed health packs, by the way.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, aren't even diegetically placed. They're just there with no
They're
explanation.
just there. I guess some humans found their way into here.
Maybe the flood dropped them. Oh, look, another flood with a shotgun. Don't get close. I'm gonna pick that up.
So, yep. We have these dudes. They're sentinels. We saw them at the end of the last level. They shoot
pretty cool.
kind of ineffective lasers at enemies. They can also hit you if you're too close to the enemy they're shooting. I take them or leave them. They don't do a lot.
So yeah, the flood. I kept alluding to. Oh, you know, they've got 2 tricks left. They've got 1 trick left. The flood was their last trick, and now they're just going hard. They're just throwing the flood at us.
So pick up a needler, see what happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point is, I could have excused Halo as at least still being like an enjoyable romp through a poorly thought out video game. But this is absolutely inexcusable. There's nothing about this design or thought that went into this that is good. It is, this is the least amount of effort you could ever possibly put in a level.
I have played Unity asset flips that tried harder than this. And I can't be certain of motive or intent, but I will absolutely accuse this stage of being, hey, we need to just ship the game. Don't worry about, like, actually finishing the level.
Yeah.
Right? Just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. We need to ship for the holidays. Like, I'll accuse it of that, and people might be able to set me straight on it, but I'm confident that this is like.
Oh, I think I just saved us from something.
Oh.
We'll have to take a look once we get over there. This motherfucker had a rocket launcher.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're giving them rocket launchers. Now, I mentioned that the rockets are pretty slow. And so if an enemy shoots a rocket at you, there's a good chance if you see it, you can dodge it. However, that doesn't take into account being surrounded by enemies that are corralling you, or, you know, getting shot by an enemy with a rocket launcher that you don't see, or, you know, any other number of things. And hey, guess what? You get hit with a rocket, you're dead, buddy.
Yeah. Now, curiously, they don't have any flood with sniper rifles, which is nice.
Yeah, it's interesting that they don't do that, because they certainly, like, you know, they give flood shotguns and rocket launchers. They clearly don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah. I believe it was evident from the tone of my voice, but the library actually makes me angry that I'm playing this. Like, I don't enjoy this at all.
but we've got to power through it for the sake of consistency, completion, all that, right? Like, we do it for you, dear viewer.
Yeah, so remember to like, share, subscribe, and rate 5 stars.
Yeah.
Ring the dinner bell. What else does YouTube have? Engage with algorithm.
Engage with the algorithm, consumer. Oh god. See, look, ambush straight out of this tunnel. You just get whammied from all sides. It's incredible.
It's so low effort.
Like, there's even, like, if where there is effort in this stage, and that's a generous statement, but bear with me, where there is deliberate effort in this stage, it's almost mean-spirited, right? It's like you
Yeah.
round a corner and there's 3 of those legged like, look at this!
Yeah.
Look at this!
This is...
Like,
Oops.
it's absurd that anyone would think that this is okay to ship in a product.
Yeah,
And
this is
Keep
embarrassing.
in mind that this is actually easier than the game was on launch, because we're using mouse and keyboard controls. We actually have the ability to, like, turn 180 in less than a second and
Yeah.
shoot if we're getting whacked from behind. You don't get that with an Xbox controller in your hand.
You sure don't. And look, down there, no health pack, so I'm just screwed until we can find a little corner where the developers thought to be merciful.
And we're walking past all these things, like, look, there's these panels, and they have, like, an electricity effect on them.
Yep.
No efforts given to justify or explain what they are. There probably is an explanation in the supplementary material, but again, none of the characters are asking questions. It is, this stage, narrative-wise, is a one-sided conversation. This isn't even George Lucas shot, reverse shot. This is a monologue of nonsense delivered to the camera. Like,
And it's ridiculous because you'd think that, like, Cortana runs off and, like, there's a crazy weapon that... Oh, but I don't want to ride the elevator. Haha, fuck you. Like, Cortana's like, oh, there's a horrible weapon that is about to be unleashed. The Covenant don't know anything about it, and we find the footage, and we're like, oh god, horrible aliens. This must be the weapon, right? What? And then there's this fucker, and it's just like, will you...
Other species currently on the installation is responsible for releasing the flood. They seem most persistent in their attempts to access restricted areas.
There's...
Like,
just fucking
that's
say
nothing.
something!
but that's a nothing statement, right?
Like, oh,
that's
the Covenant
information
released
that
them.
we already
We-
have.
Yeah, we knew that. Cortana said so. Oh,
It's-
look, a health pack. My god. Why is it up here? Who knows?
Here we go, another cramped tunnel. I wonder if they'll put, like, blood with shotguns, or maybe those explosive potato boys in the... Oh, hey, look. Oh, that one's got a needler. Hold on, I think this one has a shotgun.
duck real quick.
Yep, look. That one had a shotgun. Like,
Yep.
I told you, it's mean-spirited. Because these ones are pre-placed. They're not just ones getting thrown out of the walls like the others. It's... Yeah, this. Like, what a shitty thing to do.
Yep. Oh, look. Exploding. Right around the corner.
So some background on Skelzor. I'm a big, like, original Doom and Doom 2 fanatic, right? I have a folder on my hard drive, and it's just gigabytes of, like, Doom WADs, mega WADs, mods, source ports, you name it. So this is this stage feels, in terms of, like, design philosophy, like a somewhere halfway between, like, a slaughter map and, like, a troll, like, WAD, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like there's lots and lots of enemies, shoot them, good luck, idiot. So it's like,
played,
okay.
You've played TNT, right?
I have played TNT, yes. Yeah,
Giant wide open
there's-
areas with way too many enemies?
Yeah. There's that sort of, but there's also that sort of, like, dickish intent to the encounter design as well, where it's not about trying to create an enjoyable experience for the player, or, like, some sort of handcrafted narrative. It's literally about trying to play the gotcha game with the player.
Yeah.
It's like, haha, gotcha! Aren't I charming and funny? My map spawned a fucking archvile on top of you in a room with no cover to avoid his fire attack. Aren't I clever? Ooh, look, a closet opened up, a bunch of revenants came pouring out. This is that kind of, like, design philosophy.
I'm gonna...
And
Here,
then-
I'll
yeah.
do a little thought exercise with you. Let's say, you know, one of us... I know how to use the Doom editor.
Yeah.
Let's say I
Yeah.
remake the library in Doom.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Too dangerous to release, and as there are infection protocols, many can
So you mean there was another time where this happened? How did you contain it? Let's ask some fucking questions and see what can be done about this, since it's clearly a problem.
Well, we can't because there's no lines in the script.
Steve Downs is off to host a radio show for more money than Bungie could pay him. I'm not saying this is a fault of his. I'm sure he's a very nice man.
Hey, Steve, if you hear this, we love you, right? Your voice is heavenly.
I mean,
right?
once they told you to do something else other than what you did for the E3 demo.
Yeah. You do good work. It's just that there's not enough of you, bud.
Bungie does not let Master Chief be a character, and this is why they're so bad at storytelling. They have a main character
The installation was
who...
specifically
Hold on.
built to study and contain the Flood. Their survival as a race was dependent on... I am grateful to see that some of them survived to reproduce.
So we're getting conflicting information now. So the ring is a weapon.
We, as a super soldier man, genetically engineered to do stuff like this solo, should ask, like, why is that a good thing? You know, hey, excuse me, you're like my acting superior right now, I guess, as far as telling me what to do. Shouldn't I try to clarify my mission here?
It's like, that's the thing, because like that is a conflicting piece of information. We've been told that Halo is a weapon, right? Explicitly, in black and white. Halo is a weapon. And now we've been told that it's also a facility to study and contain the Flood. It can be both of those things, but you've got to give us more than just two conflicting pieces of information to make that okay.
Yeah, so
right?
what I'm, like, I know what Halo is. I've played all these games, except 5.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, from what we can gather, Halo is a weapon, the Flood are weird biohazardous thing. They're Resident Evil monsters. Oh,
yeah.
So I guess the weapon is, like, moving the Halo over a planet and deploying Flood on it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Am I wrong? Should we ask about that? Should we throw out some ideas? Or should we just wander along complacently shooting these things with no idea of why we're here?
You say that, and people who've played this series know that's not correct, right? But that's actually a fair assumption based on the information we're given, because Captain Keyes went to where Captain Keyes went. That was supposedly a weapon cache, right?
Yeah.
And it was just Flood. So maybe the Flood is a weapon. I mean, the Resident Evil games came out before this one. It's a safe bet.
From where I'm standing, it seems like a pretty reasonable jump to make to that being the answer.
And you could argue that maybe they're deliberately trying to do that so they can set up the twist reveal in what the ring does, right? But I feel like that's kind of dishonest and unfair.
Well, I mean, so we will learn what the actual weapon of the Halo is next level, but it's something we could have learned right here if Master Chief opened his fucking mouth and asked what we were doing. Just
talk. Just say anything, right? But no, we don't even get that much. And again, I'm gonna call back to the thing that I keep harping on. These games were written as they were made, so that can also be an explanation for conflicting information being provided, right? Not an excuse, explanation. That's an important distinction to make.
Yeah.
I will deactivate the security line. Wait here.
It's kind of a good thing we're dying so much because we got so much to dump.
25 minutes in and we're almost halfway done.
He said 10 more, first of 10, right? He was not fucking lying.
I said he's not lying. That
like
this. Okay, remember when Hunt Down the Freeman came out and people were like, "Wow, this is an embarrassing sequence of bullshit hallways with waves of enemies until an arbitrary point of progression." You can't see the face I'm making, but I'm just like, it's the whole face of like, come on, make the connection, you can do it, realize this is absolute trash.
And the reason that they're so much better, right, is because the game was fine up until now. So
unimpressive, impressive in some areas, unimpressive in others, but fine, enjoyable. This is there. We don't have. What if we had vehicles? These hallways are wide enough. What if we could take like some ghosts? You know, we didn't really have an opportunity to play around with the ghosts because it gave us the tank instead. That's the better option. What if we had ghosts to tear through this place? That would be pretty cool. I would take the library unchanged if there were ghosts spawned around checkpoints.
Any vehicle. So here's the thing, right? This is actually I think this is a pretty solid analogy. So Zen is pretty universally reviled in the original Half-Life, right? I know you're not a fan of the original Half-Life, but Zen, you can agree, is a lower quality than the rest of that game.
Yes,
right?
And I should clarify, it's not that I'm not a fan of Half-Life because, like, I think it's bad, it doesn't mesh with me. It's not what I want out of a game.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see that Zen is of a lower quality. Why is time short? Anyway,
Yeah.
So imagine if you're playing Half-Life, right? And the game's, you're enjoying it, or you think the game's fine, or you think the game's inoffensive. You're playing Half-Life, right? Imagine if halfway through Half-Life, that's when Zen starts, and Zen is just the rest of the game.
Yeah.
People would not love Half-Life as much as they do if Zen made up half of it.
Yeah.
Right? Zen is maybe a quarter of Half-Life's length, and people universally agree that it overstays its welcome. Like... and I know you might be thinking, well, yeah, but the library's only one stage. Don't worry. Don't worry, Bungie will find new and interesting ways to disappoint us from this point forward.
It's not just one stage of the same hallway copy and pasted dozens of times with too many enemies coming out of too many areas with no care paid to how they get there. But it's an indicator. It's a flag for what's next.
It's the canary in the cage is dead, right? It's the chum in the waters. You know it's coming. It's not just like, it's not like the library is that one part, right?
Yeah, it's not like Halo throws the library at you and then gets better.
Like, obviously, the parts that come after aren't nearly as difficult as the library, but it's not like, you know, it's not like we go back to fighting the Covenant and having a grand old space adventure. Like, these arseholes are here for the rest of the game, spoiler alert, right?
Yeah.
To their credit,
do we wait here or do we go down the tunnel?
We go down the tunnel.
Okay.
So this is one thing that people like to point out, and in theory, I can agree with the concept, right? To their credit, going forward, there's going to be areas where there are humans, Covenant, and Flood, and they are all fighting each other, right? That's an interesting interplay with the AI. It happens, like, once. And that's it, right? And even then, it's like, sure, that's neat, but also it doesn't change the fact that you're getting fucking swamped by these assholes. Like...
Yeah, it does not actually affect a whole lot. It's cool to look at, but it doesn't affect anything, it doesn't mean anything. It's like, okay, yeah, these are enemies, and enemies fight each other. And?
So, again, we don't need to get too far ahead, but future Halo games will do it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people still sort of like equate that to this game, and they really shouldn't, because this game doesn't ever really try with that.
Yeah, there's never a point where like the Covenant approach you and are like, we must face this threat together.
And like, I can think of going ahead exactly one arena where all three factions are present, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, one of the factions can be wiped out before you even get to it. So, you know, it's so bad, and it makes me sad. And Reckon can attest to this, right? I am someone who will actually tolerate quite a bit of janky and bad game design if a game is doing something I like.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 2 is my favorite Far Cry game.
Oh,
And
I
if you've
couldn't
played
stand
Far
it.
Cry 2, right, like, you know that that's a really weird thing to say. But this is just... It's not just bad, it's lazy, right? And that's
Yeah.
the thing that makes it really galling, right? That's the thing that makes it really stink the most. Is that it's not enough for something to simply be bad. Because, like, you can try and it can be bad, and I can see what you're trying to do. But I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to show up in the office, put in the least amount of work you can that day, because you got other shit to do.
Yeah. And, like, if this had been one go-around till an elevator, I would have been fine with it, right? Like, let's have one go-around till an elevator and call it a day.
Nah, man. No, we gotta do 10 more doors, we gotta do 11 more hallways, we gotta do the elevator 3 times.
Oh, I'm dead.
Also, something I want to be clear on, just in case anyone who works at Bungie is watching this video, right? Like, if you were the guy who had to turn this in for the fucking...
Fuck you.
For going gold. Yeah, first of all, fuck you, right? Second of all, I understand that maybe there's some sort of mitigating circumstances that I might not know about, right? So, like, I don't know, you're probably not a bad guy, but I really hope you tried harder for the rest of your career after turning this in to go gold. Like, holy shit, dude.
Like, this is just...
Yeah,
unacceptable.
it's too much.
This, again, Bungie were not first-time developers. They were veterans of the industry in 2001. This is something they thought was worthy of following up their pedigree as the developers of Marathon and its sequels and expansions.
Put your name on the box, right? Like, I mean, of course, you put your name on something you make, but it's like, when you put your name on something you make, that's a statement. That's, I'm proud of this thing. I want people to know I made it, right?
Yep.
And there's stuff to be proud of in this game. We've praised aspects of this game. But, like, come on, guys. and, like, you know, if you're a fan of the Halo series, there's plenty to like in the overall series. But if you defend this stage, you maybe need to, like, sit back and reevaluate why you enjoy video games. Because I guarantee you it's not for the gameplay.
Yeah, and remember, like, this also isn't just like, oh, you know, you can't give the pass to Bungie because they were veterans. This is also... You cannot... I'm dead. You cannot look at Halo in a vacuum. You need to compare it to other games that were out during this time. And you mentioned Doom slaughter maps. There were plenty of those in 2001.
Yeah.
And people were already not impressed with them. Like, sure, people would play them to be like, look, I did this really hard slaughter map. But people were more interested in way more complex and interesting Doom WADs. And, say it again, Deus Ex came out a year before this. And Deus Ex isn't a shooter on its own, but it's still, you look at the environments in Deus Ex, and you look at this to compare it with, and it's...
Like, Deus Ex did more with less.
Yeah.
Like, Deus Ex wasn't, like, in terms of, like, a graphical fidelity standpoint, at its time, it was not considered cutting edge or good. People looked at the facial animations in Deus Ex and made fun of them on release.
Oh, they're still better than they are in Halo. At least people have actual lips.
Yeah, right? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Deus Ex, they did more with less. Think about that. And that's another thing, right? Bungie, they weren't inexperienced, right? They also had Big Daddy Microsoft foot the bill for everything, right? And obviously, Microsoft would have been breathing down their neck because they had to cut corners, they had to ship, right? But they had money. They had to have known, right? Like...
Yeah.
But I gotta tell myself, again, this was an RTS and then it was a third-person shooter. This was probably a fucking nightmare from a production standpoint. There was probably some director or manager just screaming in the offices every day.
I'm not disagreeing that tumultuous development can affect the final game quality, but it's... something needed to be done.
Yeah.
Halo could have
And
had
it-
9 levels.
Yeah. This could have been a cutscene, and then we could have gone straight to the next level. And you know what? That would have been fine.
Or, honestly, considering what we're about to do in the next level, we probably just should have combined the two.
Yeah. Like, literally all this, like, narrative standpoint, right? The only thing we are doing is retrieving a key. We got teleported into this location by the blinky light bulb boy. He could have teleported us to the key, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's the library,
The
ladies and
energy
gentlemen. It's
barrier
bad.
surrounding the index will deactivate when we reach the ground floor.
It's unreal how bad this stage is.
Yeah. Absolutely inexcusable.
You may now retrieve the index.
What is the index? Why do I want it? Why should I retrieve it? What will picking it up allow me to do?
Is it radioactive? It's an alien artifact.
Protocol requires that I take possession
Until
of
the next
index
one,
for transport. Your
kids.
organic food renders you vulnerable to infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the Flood before we reach the control room and activate the installation.
What protocol?
The Flood is spreading. We must hurry.
Alright, see you next time.